Hello, I'm Charles Badenoch. I am the Vice President for Advocacy and External Engagement for World Vision International. We have a real opportunity with Agenda 2030. My hope is that here in Europe, that the EU will become a champion for children's rights, for everything to do with the implementation of Agenda 2030. Thank you.
Child poverty has especially devastating impacts on children themselves, as well as on societies and economies. As a global society, we need to work hard to ensure that by 2030, no child or young person goes hungry, lacks shelter, or lacks access to essential services such as health or education.
Poor nutrition causes 45% of the 6.3 million preventable deaths in children under 5, approximately 2.8 million children each year. If we are going to end preventable child deaths, we must tackle child malnutrition. We must ensure then that all children receive adequate nutrition in the first 1,000 days of their life.
The international community should stop at nothing until the target of 0 preventable deaths of children under the age of 5 years is achieved. We must also continue to work to improve the health of mothers and newborns.
At present, 57 million primary school-aged children globally are not at school. 53% of these are girls. These children are at greater risk of exploitation, early marriage, and lower income earning potential. As an international community, we must continue to improve children's access to quality early childhood education and primary education, with special attention for girls.
We need to address the issue of inequalities for girls and women at the early stage to break the cycle of violence, to break the cycle of poverty, to break the cycle of exclusion. In the Intergroup of Children's Rights in the European Parliament that I'm proud to co-chair, we will continue to commit ourselves against all forms of discrimination and violence against women.
The current global water and sanitation crisis can be solved within our lifetimes. Development organizations such as World Vision focus on providing clean water and sanitation to every man, woman and child in the communities in which they work, including the most vulnerable populations in the hardest to reach places.
Solar panels, electrifying and community-based renewable energy projects are just a few of the ways that development and relief organisations are preparing children, young people and their communities for the future.
1.3 billion people worldwide are living on less than $1.25 a day. Microfinance, savings group and local market and value chain development are some of the ways in which development organizations empower individuals to start their own businesses, learn savings habits, and improve their farming, which enables them to provide for their families.
Experience has shown that when young children and young people are given the tools and the opportunity to analyse and understand the challenges their community faces, they will be able to develop appropriate solutions. With support, children and young people can make a big difference.
Goal 10 aims at reducing inequality within and among countries. This goal calls on all countries to enact policies that narrow the gaps between the rich and poor. It commits to include such groups as children and young people to participate in social, political and economic life.
More than 1 billion children live in cities today. Millions of these children live in slum conditions. Trapped in these conditions, children and young people across the world suffer serious violations of their basic human rights to shelter, health, education, safety and well-being.
Meaningful partnerships with children and young people will develop capacities, raise public awareness and drive behavioral change for sustainable consumption. Today's children will be central to ensuring a viable planet for the future.
Climate change makes life harder and more dangerous for children and young people experiencing poverty. It adds to existing problems like food insecurity and greatly increases the risk of disaster.
Every man, woman and child on Earth is dependent on the natural environment. Damage to the environment and climate change are already challenging us by having a direct impact on oceans, whose volume is rising due to an increased global temperature, and it will continue to do so in the coming years. We must work to protect our oceans and marine resources because they are critically important sources of water, food and sustainable livelihoods.
Any change to the ecosystem or environment in which children and young people live will impact on their lives, often in a negative way. As a Vice President of the European Parliament, I will work with organizations like World Vision and others to ensure that Goal 15 is fully implemented by the EU so that children and young people everywhere can enjoy a better future.
Children and young people in conflict areas need to be empowered through educating and mobilizing them for peace. The international community must work hard to achieve a world where every child and every young person can live a healthy, safe and protected life.
We need to start engaging and listening to children and young people globally. Empowering children and young people to exercise their right to participate raises awareness of issues that matter to them and can lead to innovative community solutions. Engaging them in planning and decision-making on issues that impact on their lives, it is also their fundamental right.
But just seeing everyone here today, you can strongly believe, I hope we all do, that we are part of the change. We are making the change right now today. If we don't take action now, it's not just future generations, but my generation that is at risk of climate change. And I don't want to be remembered as the generation that failed to save our planet. I want to be remembered as a generation that saved our planet and produced a more sustainable, greener, safer world for all of us living.